Shalom, giving all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Bahashem Rakakodash, double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone all world. We can be pushing this word around the globe in faith and with truth, and as always in sincerity. I'd like to start by saying that we are the real Hebrew Israelites. The real Israelites, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Hispanics, Native Americans, West Indians, and West Africans predominantly. But you are going to get Israelites that do look like the other 17 nations, because Israel has been scattered amongst all people throughout our various captivities. But if your seed line by your forefathers goes back to the man in the Bible that was named Israel, then you are an Israelite no matter what you may look like. Because in the book of Numbers, chapter 1 and verse 18, it clearly states that your nationality is determined by the lineage of your forefathers. So this is from Sky News. COVID-19 extra police deployed to stop non-essential Tier 4 trips after Londoners flee the capital. Now, this is prophecy in action right here, because the scriptures say that a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. So let me read this article and then Lord willing I'll get some scriptures. It says the Health Secretary condemns Saturday night's chaotic train station scenes in the capital as totally irresponsible behaviour. Now, for those of you who don't know, yesterday it was declared that London would enter into Tier 4 category of lockdown, and the news came very suddenly. So as a response to that news, a lot of people have tried to leave the capital before the Tier 4 was introduced, which would be at midnight last night. Now these government ministers want to turn around and say that people are behaving irresponsibly because they reacted to the action that the government's taken. You know, and this is all bullshit anyway. You all know it's all bullshit. But basically, what the government is trying to do is create order out of chaos with this situation. So let's play this little video, Lord willing, and now read the article. Well, it says large crowds at King's Cross St Pancras as people flee Tier 4. It says extra police officers are being deployed at railway stations to stop people from making non-essential Tier 4 journeys after passengers crowded onto trains in London to escape the tightening of COVID-19 restrictions. People were seen leaving the capital yesterday in vast numbers following the announcement of Tier 4 measures. Transport Secretary Grant Shapps said on Sunday that the British Transport Police would have an increased presence following Saturday night's chaotic scenes. He said the extra British Transport Police officers are being deployed to ensure that only those who need to take essential journeys can safely travel. Mr. Shapps added, if you're in Tier 4, the law means you must stay at home, and you cannot stay overnight away from home. Across the rest of the country, you must stay local. The Christmas Transport Tsar, Peter Henry said, at stations we will be deploying extra staff. Announcements will make the law clear, and additional British Transport Police officers are in place to ensure that only essential journeys take place. People considering driving should also stay at home or stay local. Health Secretary Matt Hancock earlier let out a deep sigh and shook his head when asked about the footage of a very busy St Pancras station by Sky's Sophie Ridge. He said this was clearly totally irresponsible behaviour. The Chief Medical Officer, Professor Chris Whitty, was absolutely clear that people should unpack their bags if they had them packed. This is a joke, man. This is all comedy, man. Let's watch this video.
Many of us will have seen those images of people leaving London. I think we might be able to show some as well. I mean, look at the packed stations there.
Yeah.
Many of us will have seen those images of people leaving London. I think we might be able to show some as well. I mean, look at the packed stations there.
Yeah.
What would you say to people who did travel?
Well, this was clearly totally irresponsible behaviour. The chief medical officer was absolutely clear that people should unpack their bags if they had them packed. I think that it's relatively small numbers, and the vast majority of people throughout this whole pandemic have followed the rules, been responsible, and played their part. And I want to thank everybody for doing that. It is more important than ever that people are responsible, not only stick to the rules, but even within the rules, restrict social contact as much as is possible, because this is deadly serious.
Yeah, you're right. It is deadly serious because Yahweh are about to make their return on the earth. So it is indeed deadly serious, but not in the way that you think, Esau. So let's continue on. It says, I think that it is relatively small numbers and that the vast majority of people throughout this whole pandemic have followed the rules, been responsible, and played their part. I want to thank everybody for doing that. Asked on the BBC's Andrew Marsh show on Sunday if the police could stop families from driving out of Tier 4 areas to visit relatives, Mr. Hancock said the police would uphold the new laws. Fears over a new strain of coronavirus prompted the Prime Minister to announce yesterday that all of those areas previously in Tier 3 in the southeast, including London, would now move into the new Tier 4 today. This means the closure of non-essential shops, gyms, hairdressers with people ordered to stay at home, apart from limited exceptions. It also bans mixings of households over Christmas, which saw many people make the last-minute dash to slightly lighter rules in other parts of England. Let's play this video.
Guardian angels powerless as suddenly Christmas is cancelled for millions. And today was made the last shopping day of Advent by government. It was exactly what this man didn't want to have to do.
We must, I'm afraid, look again at Christmas. And as Prime Minister, it's my duty to take difficult decisions, to do what...
Guardian angels powerless as suddenly Christmas is cancelled for millions. And today was made the last shopping day of Advent by government. It was exactly what this man didn't want to have to do.
We must, I'm afraid, look again at Christmas. And as Prime Minister, it's my duty to take difficult decisions, to do what is right to protect the people of this country. We will introduce new restrictions in the most affected areas, specifically those parts of London, the South East and the East of England, which are currently in Tier 3. These areas will enter a new Tier 4, which will be broadly equivalent to the national restrictions which were in place in England in November. That means residents in those areas must stay at home, apart from limited exemptions set out in law. Non-essential retail, indoor gyms and leisure facilities and personal care services must close. People must work from home if they can, but may travel to work if this is not possible, for example, in the construction and manufacturing sectors. People should not enter or leave Tier 4 areas, and Tier 4 residents must not stay overnight away from home. In England, those living in Tier 4 areas should not mix with anyone outside their own household at Christmas, though support bubbles will remain in place for those at particular risk of loneliness or isolation. Across the rest of the country, the Christmas rules allowing up to 3 households to meet will now be limited to Christmas Day only, rather than the 5 days as previously set out. I know how disappointing this will be. I know how much emotion people invest in this time of year and how important it is, for instance, for grandparents to see their grandchildren, for families to be together. When the science changes, we must change our response. And when the virus changes its method of attack, we must change our method of defence. And as your Prime Minister, I sincerely believe there is no alternative open to me. Without action, the evidence suggests that infections would soar, hospitals would become overwhelmed, and many thousands more would lose their lives.
He only found out about a new strain sweeping the south and east last weekend, 1 week later, and it has forced a complete rewrite of coronavirus policy.
It seems that the spread is now being driven by the new variant of the virus. There's no evidence that it causes more severe illness or higher mortality, but it does appear to be passed on significantly more easily. Although there's considerable uncertainty, it may be up to 70% more transmissible than the old variant, the original version of the disease.
This is causing the virus to accelerate transmission across the south and east of England.
In the southeast, 43% of the virus is now this new variant. In the east of England, it's 59%, and in London, 62%. The numbers may vary slightly, but those numbers are broadly right. And those have gone up very, very fast over the last few weeks.
Viruses mutate all the time, but the new variant contains 23 different changes, many of them associated with changes in the protein that the virus makes. This is an unusually large number of variants. It's also got variants in areas of the virus that are known to be associated with how the virus binds to cells and enters cells. So there are some changes which cause concern in terms of how the virus looks.
The government is just starting to work out the full impact.
This decision will be upsetting for millions of people. So could you just speak directly to everyone suddenly now spending Christmas Day alone? What hope can you give them?
I suppose the message is, that this is the year to lift a glass to those who aren't there, in the knowledge that it's precisely because they aren't there to celebrate Christmas with you this year that we will have a better chance that they'll be there next year to celebrate Christmas with you. I suppose that would be my message, Sam, to the country.
Is the new strain impervious to social distancing measures? Might the 2-metre rule and existing face coverings no longer be enough to protect people?
We do not think that the current measures will not work against this, but we're going to have to do a lot more in a sense, to stand still. It's like you were cycling up a steep hill and now you've got the wind against you as well. You just have to do that much more to actually keep going.
We, of course, bitterly regret the changes that are necessary, but alas, when the facts change, you have to change your approach.
You could tell from Boris Johnson's demeanour that he knows just how badly this will go down with the country. He didn't try and empathise with the nation or articulate its distress. He just looked wounded and winded at a decision he's tried so long to fight. But now he needs the country to comply with his instructions. The lights of the capital still sparkle, but the joy beneath isn't there tonight.
And Lord willing,
Sam Coates, Sky News.
Lord willing, it won't come back. So let's keep going. It says the tougher restrictions were announced by the Prime Minister on Saturday at 4 p.m. at a news conference ahead of them coming into force on Sunday. By 7 p.m. last night, there were no seats available online on trains from several London stations, including Paddington, King's Cross and Euston. Harriet Clugston was among those on a train from St Pancras to Leeds, a service she described as crammed. She wrote on Twitter, announcement on Tannoy says social distancing will not be possible due to volume and get off if you are not comfortable with that. So this is from the Rail Delivery Group. It says, following the government's announcement earlier this evening, if you can no longer use your tickets due to recent changes to COVID restrictions for your area, you can find more about rebooking and refunds here. People have tried to secure social distance by placing suitcases on seats, but are being asked to remove them by other passengers because the trains are so full. She added, every person on this train, including myself, has made what is probably a very silly and irresponsible decision to travel, albeit within the law. But that's what the people are always going to do, to be together at Christmas. My mother lives alone, and there's no way I could not be with her at Christmas. So says a woman who did not want to be named said she and her partner had made a split decision to take their young son to her parents' home on the coast. We just made the decision to leave based on the fact that my parents said come, and we couldn't bear the thought of no fresh air and a toddler going rogue around a small flat for the foreseeable future, she said. We also just really felt we wanted to get the baby somewhere a bit safer with a garden, though we know a lot of people won't have that luxury. She added, the grandparents are just desperately happy to see their grandson. We obviously worry about taking something down to them, but they seem happy to take the risk. So yeah, man, it's all going on. It's all going on. And this is exactly what was prophesied in the scriptures to happen. This is Revelation 12:12. The devil is come down unto you having great wrath, because he knoweth that you have but a short time. And the devil I'm speaking of is Esau. I guess the scriptures. This book of Revelation, chapter 12 and verse 12, it says, Rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you having great wrath, because he knoweth that you have but a short time. Yeah, this is exactly what I want. 2 Ezra, the 15th chapter, 2 Ezra 15, verse 1. Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy, which I will put in thy mouth, saith the Lord, and cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true. Fear not the imaginations against thee, let not the incredulity of them that trouble thee and speak against thee. For all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness. Behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction. For wickedness hath exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their fruitful works are fulfilled. And their hurtful works are fulfilled. Therefore saith the Lord, I will hold my tongue no more as touching their wickedness, which they profanely commit, neither will I suffer them in those things in which they wickedly exercise themselves. Behold, the innocent and righteous blood crieth unto me, and the souls of the just complain continually. And therefore saith the Lord, I will surely avenge them, and receive unto me all the innocent blood from among them. Behold, my people is led as a flock to the slaughter. I will not suffer them now to dwell in the land of Egypt, but I will bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm, and smite Egypt with the plagues as before, and will destroy all the land thereof. Egypt shall mourn, and the foundation of it shall be smitten with the plague and the punishment that the Most High shall bring upon it. They that till the ground shall mourn, for their seed shall fail through the blasting and the hail, and with fearful constellation. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their action shall stand in their power. Here's the point, a man shall desire to go into a city, and shall not be able. For because of their pride the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and the men shall be afraid. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbour, but shall destroy their houses with a sword, and spoil their goods, because of the lack of bread, and for great tribulation. So that's what's coming to this place, man. You know, get your cameras ready, because 2021 is going to be a hell of a year, man. 2020 has been awesome so far with all this chaos and destruction. And Lord willing, it continues into 2021, so we can sooner see the end of this place, man, and the return of our Lord Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai. So Yahweh, in the name of our Lord Yahweh Shai. I said it right the first time. So like, yeah, we're going to see the return of Yahweh Shai coming in the name of his father Yahweh. Yeah. So with that, giving all praise and glory unto Yahweh B'Hashem Yahweh Shai, B'Hashem Makakodash, double honors to the elders and apostles, great millstone that will well, and shalom to you Akim that are teaching this word around the globe with faith and truth and in sincerity. And until the next lesson, Lord willing, I'll say shalom.